All right, so this is Jesse Gass's notebook turn in. This quarter was kind of discombobulated just because of the fact that we were doing it online and just the notebook itself wasn't done the normal way. So I'll kind of walk you through what I have. So the first one I did was describing and analyzing data, the mean, median, mode. This was hard for me at the beginning because I forgot the definitions of the words. And I've never heard of these quartile things. I'm sorry the questions aren't on here because, well, we were just working off worksheets. But that was my assignment. I was working in groups with people for it, which is always hard for me. I think is how it helped me as a mathematician is kind of like working with other people, especially in the first couple of weeks of the class, where we were trying to learn how to facilitate doing this all online in the kind of the predicament that we were in. That's kind of what I'd say. So that was my first one. My second one, I did a lot of probability stuff. Part of the reasons I picked these was because of the packets. The packets were easier for me to work with than kind of like the previous example where we were just kind of giving answers as opposed to actually having the questions. This one was hard for me at the beginning because at first it says to list all of the possibilities. I was not down for that. There was too many. I did it for the first one and I was like, no. I started doing it for the second one, but there's no way I'm listing 125 possibilities. And as we go up into these where we have like, this isn't the actual possibilities, it's that divided by 25 because that was a dollar amount. But you're talking about hundreds of thousands of possibilities. That didn't seem plausible via the instructions. So it's kind of the way it was easiest for me. This wasn't super hard, but I never actually did probability in school, so it was good for me to do. And yeah, this last one was interesting though. I had to think about it a lot because basically I really wanted to figure out the probability, not the possible outcomes. And then because the way it worked out where it was 12 females and 10 men, I had to look at the key to get the answer for this one. I was really confused as to why it was 12 times 11 times 10 times 9. That would seem like to be the answer if it was all females, but just the way it worked out because there was 12 females, there was 10 males, so those first two are for the females. The second two are for the males. It looks like it's all for females, but it's actually not. It's for both. So that was that worksheet. How it helped me grow as a mathematician? Well, I think all the probability stuff as a whole helped me kind of rethink the way I think because I have some shortcuts that I do that I learned, but I didn't know the origins of them. So counting problems kind of helped me figure out where those things were, and we'll see more of that going forward. Next, I have my single stage experiments. Another worksheet, easy to report on. The dice. These aren't super hard, but I really like doing them, and I think math should be fun. So the single stage ones are pretty easy. I did do some things here where I actually listed out the probabilities, or the possibilities, I should say, as opposed to just trying to math it out. Sometimes just writing them down is easier. More stuff. This one I had a probability versus odds. I know our class had a lot of problems with that. Even as I read the instructions, I had a hard time deciphering what they meant there. I knew the answers organically, but the formulaic presentation of it was kind of hard for me. Next was multi-stage experiments. These ones, again, were pretty easy for me. I was really looking for the problem with the students that we had a lot of questions on during the quarter. Couldn't find it, so I went with this instead. I don't understand why they require all this paper to solve these. A lot of it's just mathing them out. Had a hiccup here. I forgot to simplify. Had to check the key for that. A lot of questions for myself is for whether I should list it as a percentage or a fraction or a decimal. But yeah, let me think about it. this one I thought was really fun. I actually never thought of it that way, as opposed to like, what are the chances of losing? And I think we see that again on the last problem. Yeah, we do. Um, yeah, I think any of these gambling problems, I don't know what else to call them, gambling problems, are interesting because it just kind of lets you know how much it's kind of a racket. But yeah, that was fun. And then last was Venn diagrams. Venn diagrams, although I have done them in the past for logic stuff, I haven't done them a lot for math, was, I won't say it's hard for me, but I kept on making the mistake, especially on the homework. That is actually a big point of this. Some of my favorite problems throughout the quarter were homework problems through the my open math. I really wish we could have refreshed some of those so we could actually use those as examples as opposed to packets. I actually didn't have much to do with the geometry stuff because most of it was through the homework, so I had to pick things earlier in the quarter. Not to say that this is something you normally run into, but yeah. So Venn diagrams was fun. Kind of worked through all that stuff. I think of anything this course, the Venn diagrams are things I made the most mistakes on in the homework. Simply because I kept on forgetting to basically work backwards. Whenever I do these now, I always start with the both and then work my way back so I can subtract and get the actual numbers inside of these. Which is kind of counterintuitive initially because it's all listed in the opposite direction, right? And I've never thought about these ways where you had to kind of decipher what was in the both without them giving it to you. So it took me a little brain power to figure out, like, how am I going to do this? And the easy answer was, well, if there's 6 in one and 7 in the other, there's 13. There's only 10, so that means there must 3 that share. And you see me replicate that throughout on these. So those are my 5 things. I hope that's sufficient. This assignment, like most of them for me, are kind of hard because I don't know exactly what to turn in, but I hope this is good enough. So I'm going to make a YouTube of this. I will hopefully email it to you, and hopefully that'll be good. Thanks.